workshop in July at National Conference, and it was my last workshop on the last day, and I was so impressed with the material. But you know how that stuff is, sometimes it's lost right at the end when you attend a workshop, and I had good intentions of coming home and doing it, and I printed some of the stuff out, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off. And I was using a very condensed system from somebody else they had posted, and I'm like, oh, this is working, but it really wasn't.
Okay.
And so I had plans on putting it in place, and I attended a retreat where Stacy Itzel spoke on it. We were in York, PA, and I'm like, I have to do this, and I have to do this now. Okay. And I literally got home at like 7 o'clock on a Sunday night, and by noon I was out on Monday purchasing all the materials, printing it out. One of my other directors, we went and did it. I went Facebook Live on my director page and said, we need to put this together. It does call for a 1/2-inch binder, but I'm honestly very distracted by things that are pretty and sparkly. So I had to buy this binder that I love the color. And, you know, I didn't understand at first. You know, I did what they said, and I got the pockets, the dividers with the pockets. And I'm like, why do I need dividers with pockets? Because I just wasn't remembering. And I got all the sheet protectors. And when I realized that you print out this amazing new consultant, you know, coaching and checklist, and how the system just calls, you know, I have these blank under the first call. I write the person's name down, and then I do that call, and then you move that sheet right over to that second call. And, you know, I felt like I've been doing this business for almost 18 years, but the way this system is put together, I feel like it has a lot of information, and I do think there's a lot of value in going through the system and highlighting what you like, highlighting the words that fit for you, and then even going over and taking notes in the margin of things that you tweak and make your own. Okay. And then I think what I feel like the biggest thing for me is I would mention fast track, but I wouldn't follow up on fast track. And this system makes you follow. I mentioned fast track, the amazing opportunity we had to earn $2,000, but then I just wasn't holding myself accountable because I didn't have the proper systems in place that I turned around and I wasn't following up on. So who have you thought about would be good for fast track? Who have you identified? It was those little details, because it wasn't right in front of me in a system, that I wasn't implementing. And I felt like because I wasn't doing that, it wasn't a natural part of my training. I've started 3 or 4 new consultants in the last couple weeks using this system. Some were already midway in the system, but I started a couple, I think 4 or 5 new consultants, and it feels like it's just very natural. Like we just flow right into it, and it feels better. And I even love the fact that the system gives us permission as leaders. When you go to that second call, if they don't have the bookings, you don't go any further. I think because as leaders, we're so solution driven, we feel like we need to fix it for them. We feel like we need to do something. If they haven't done it, we can't fix it for them.
So it stops.
It stops.
Okay.
It stops. And I also love, and it was Stacy's tip, that she challenges them to have those 6 bookings. And when they do, she will put she either goes on to a supply order and she sends it out from there because she has so many PC dollars. Or if you have it, you can just send it right out to them. You can just send them the 6 Season's Best recipe booklets, or you could send them 6 citrus peelers, or, you know, whatever you wanted. If you purchase those out of, you know, those out of date Season's Best, they're not much. She provides that challenge for them. And it just, to me, everybody loves a challenge and everybody loves something free. And whether you're virtual or cooking show, you can still use 6 door prizes.
Absolutely. You know, April, if we could kind of just go back and let's pretend you've just gotten a notice that right. You have a new consultant. Now, I would assume that you run this program for, of course, any personal recruits and any indirect recruits on your team.
Right.
All right. So when that notice comes in, what would April do?
Well, 2 things. If they're a personal recruit, I go ahead and I probably had a conversation with them. Now, there was a recruit that came through that was a home office lead. I called her immediately. I was so shocked, and I was hoping it wasn't a mistake. Because,
that was my recruit, April.
And so I called her immediately. It was a Sunday night, and I'm like, Heidi ho, where did you come from? And so I called her, and it was really cute because she said, "Hi there." And it's so funny how, people don't use the phone as much, but she goes, "I don't usually accept phone calls that I don't know the number, but I thought this might be Pampered Chef calling." And so I just said hi, and I said, "I'd like to set up to do some training." And she said, "Wonderful." So I set up the training. I sent her an email, and Karen, I can send you a copy of it. It's two Sharon Zellen and Tracy Barron compiled.
Okay.
And then I have the attachments on there with the launch list, the fast track, the getting started checklist, and the goal sheet. And I attach that, and I have it bolded in red and ask them to have those materials printed out.
Okay.
When I call them.
Yeah, if you would email that to me, that would be terrific. I think you have my email address, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And I'll email it to you. It's in an Evernote. And what I like about it, it has a welcome banner on it, and it has the current. So what you do have to remind yourself to go in and change it on the 1st of the month. It has their current recruiting sign-on incentive they signed under.
Okay.
In a picture, so it just keeps it in front of them, and then it also has the fast track in there.
Okay.
And then we just start out the call, and I just said, the very first call is I just say, "Welcome, I'm so glad that you joined our team." And I said, just tell me a little bit about yourself. And so they start talking about themselves. And I have these things highlighted because this was the part that I took ownership with. So I have these things highlighted. And I'm finding that, when you talk to them about their goals are very low. They're just like, "I just want a couple $100. So what would that mean to your family budget? What are you going to do with that money? Could you use a little more money than that? If I had a bag of names and bookings weren't an issue, I do go through that. And so I tell them to dream a little bit. This can be as big as you want, and then I go through that. And then I talk to them about the new consultant rewards program and let them know they're going to earn new consultant rewards, and they don't have to worry about reinvesting their money from their commission into catalogs or order forms or new products that they want to add to their kit, that Pampered Chef is giving them free money to do that. I talk about we mark down their 30 and 90-day dates, and I really do like the form that you use with this because everything's on here.
Okay.
It's just very concise. I was using something else, and it was 2 sheets, and I just love this. And so I make notes in the margin. I let them know their first show can be their own, those type of things. And then we go through the launch list, and we fill out the launch list using, the Frank's acronym. And then I'm really big on the law of reciprocity, which is number 9. And, when I was at the retreat with Stacy and you hear her talk about that, that's just amazing. And I wasn't doing that.
Okay. Would you please be specific about what the law of reciprocity is?
Yes. The law of reciprocity is on right underneath here. It's under this launch list. And the thing is, people kind of chuckle, but it really hits home for them. And the law of reciprocity is basically when someone does something nice for you, you want to do something nice for them. For example, if I said to you, "Karen, you look really nice today," you'd like, "Well, thank you, April Shillig. You always look nice." You'd say something back to me. Doesn't that sound like Karen?
Because you always look nice. I wish I had her hair.
Yeah, doesn't it look like it today?
I love it. Yeah, no, I do. I love it.
Thank you. You'd want to pay me a compliment as well. Well, there's a lot of research that shows that people are more likely to say yes to something after they've said no to something. So have you ever told somebody no, and this is a prime example, is your children, and then they ask you something different and you say yes? Well, this is what the law of reciprocity is. So in order to get a yes for a booking, we want to get to a no first. So you want to do something nice for them, and you want to give them something to say no to. So before we ask someone to host a show, we should ask them if they'd be interested in being a consultant. And then when I'm doing new consultant training, they always chuckle. And being a consultant requires more of a commitment than hosting a show. So most people are going to say no, and we completely expect it. It's after that no that people are more likely to say yes to hosting a show. So when you ask them to host a show afterwards, you've lowered the commitment level, and that's the nice thing that you're doing for them. So now they want to do something nice for you, and they say yes to hosting a show. So we pick out 2 people on their launch list. We pick out 2 people, and we think about why they would benefit from being a consultant. So in the example Stacy gave us when she worked with us is, let's say that Karen and I both work at a hospital. and we're both nurses, and we're both on our feet, and we're tired all the time. So I decided to join Pampered Chef because I'd like to not work as many hours and be home with my family more. So I would say something to Karen like, I'm so excited. I joined the Pampered Chef because I'm looking to earn some extra money and not have to be away from my children so much. I thought of you right away because I know you're in the same situation. Have you ever thought about doing this? I would love to have you join my team and we could do this together. And Karen's going to go, oh my gosh, no, I don't think I'm ready for that. And then say, no, I understand, but I'm super excited. Would you mind grabbing a handful of friends and hosting a show for me? And Karen's probably breathing a sigh of relief because the commitment level is much lower at hosting a show than it is being a consultant. Now, on the off chance that Karen's been dying to reduce her hours too, she might just say yes.
Perfect. So, it's really interesting because that's another thing about another aspect of our business that's really counterintuitive. Because often I think we've heard get people saying yes.
Right.
And then it makes
You're
it
right.
easier,
You're right.
But this law of reciprocity, I mean, you're so right.
Yeah. And I did this training last night, this woman, and we talked about this, the post that we put out there looking for 5 virtual consultants. She responded to that post and she signed. And so when I was telling her how to get to the yes, and I said this, and she said, that's actually true. We talked about the law of reciprocity, and I'd never heard it before, but it makes so much sense. I'm just going to have a cat walk in front of me. So we talk about that. And I said, this really, and I said, maybe you'll get a yes, and one of my gals did get a yes. She's working with a gal that wants to sign. She works at a restaurant and she's a student and she is thinking about signing to be a consultant. So it's funny because, that's what Stacy told me when she explained it to me. She goes, sometimes people say yes, they do want to be a consultant. So it's a win-win. They say no to being a consultant and say yes to hosting a show. We're looking for the bookings anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
right.
that I really think and I think that law of reciprocity, when I read it first, it's easily discounted. It's like, oh no, that's kind of, at first it sounds kind of, but when you hear somebody really own it and explain it, you're like, this is a darn good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's interesting. I often say to a new consultant that sometimes the training seems very basic and very rudimentary, but it's really important that and again, that's true for us too. You've got to go through those steps.
You do have to go through those steps.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that, it gets them, the other thing is it gets them thinking about the recruiting component right away. Who else do I know that's in the same situation as I am? Who else do I know that works a lot of hours? This gal that I signed that I didn't know her, she was a home office lead, she's got student loan debt. She wants to be paying on student loan debt. Well, if she's in that situation, imagine she's a college student. How many other people does she know that they're in that situation?
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, so and I am recording this, thank heavens. And again, I really want to make it easy for anyone who is watching this video. First of all, I tend to complicate things, and I think that's true for most of us, and that's probably why we haven't implemented this program. And you make it seem very simple, April, which is the beauty of it. I want to make sure that everyone knows what to do. We posted what you need to create the binder, and the things that we need to print off. Let's be clear about where people can go to get that.
You're going to go to PC University, and you're going to pull down on the drop-down menu, and you under Resources, and you're going to go Leader Resources. It's under the Leader Resources, and it's all in there, and you just print it all out.
Okay. Do you have to be a team leader above in order to access that information?
I don't know the answer to that, Karen. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Does anyone else know?
I would say yes, but I don't know that definitively.
I would think. One of the things, the other thing too, can I jump in before I forget this, is one of the tips that this was a Cami Cruz tip that was given to Love, and Love said this is so important, is that the morning of your coaching phone call after the first call, text them and say, hi, this is April Shillig. I'm just so excited about our call this afternoon at 2 o'clock. I just want to make sure that you have your homework done. And just make sure you have your homework done. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Well, if you've got a call at 2 o'clock, and they haven't done their homework, and they're going to cancel that call, wouldn't you appreciate knowing at 10 o'clock versus at 1:30? She said, so that was a tip that was shared with her, that send them a little quick text reminder. And then if they're going to cancel or they haven't done their homework, you know.
Yeah, and they've got time to get their homework done, you know, and it gives them, you know, it gives them some, you know, so I appreciate that, because sometimes, like right now, I feel like I'm with my pants on fire every minute and I'm not doing anything right. But if I know I'm going to be dead meat if I don't get it done, you know, and some of us work good under that kind of pressure.
Right. And the thing is, and I think it also begins to set the tone for that accountability.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing is, make sure that when you're at the end of your first call, you immediately set the time and date for the second call. Because once again, you're setting the standard that you're busy, they're busy, you mutually respect that, and that you're going to schedule calls. It's not just willy-nilly whenever and whatever you say. So make sure that you're immediately setting the second call and sending them the text reminder.
And, you know, again, it's funny. This is interesting because sometimes we get caught up in our own head. And we feel sometimes we're not sure how much we really have to offer, and we don't value our time. But if we set the expectation that I am of value to you, I have my experience to share with you, and you need to earn my time. I mean, it sounds arrogant in a way, and it's not something we like to.
Right.
It's really very important.
It is very important. And, you know, it's very important. And this training system is just really, and I love that the form goes with the calls. So you're writing down their PC party dates. And even like there was a couple times I wrote question marks beside people's names, and I was able to say to them, okay, so you were thinking Becky was going to host a show. Did she give you a confirmed date? I think their level of respect goes up for you when you are remembering the details and holding them accountable.
Well, again, it's using this system and being honorable to the system and going through those steps yourself, you know. Do any of you have questions or comments? I would be interested to know, if you haven't set up the system, what's holding you back as well. And I would certainly take advantage of April's expertise to find the inspiration to do it. And April, do you have, I know that you're excellent, and I think that, you know, when I know different directors and executive directors, I know you get a feel for what their expertise is, and I'm not my own. However, but I know that you are really excellent at your qualifying rate, and not, of course, being able to see your stats. But would you mind just talking about that for just a second?
Well, thank you for the compliment. I felt like I was good about my qualification rate before this training. I feel like this is going to exponentially move it up, and they're going to be qualifying earlier versus sometimes being like, okay, your 30 days is up, your 30 days is up, you know, or we want to get you qualified. I feel like this is going to exponentially increase that, because I think with virtual, we can slide somebody in immediately, not immediately, but whatever our system is. Like for me, my virtual shows start on Thursdays. And so when I talked to this lady yesterday, I said to her, if you have your own show and you have one or two other people that'll host shows for you, we can slide you in with virtual shows on Thursday. My gosh, in the olden days when we were just doing cooking shows, we couldn't slide a cooking show in within 2 days.
Yeah, that's right. That's a really good point.
And that's what I do for them for training. I run their first virtual show for them. It's theirs, but I'm using Post My Party. I'm running that for them, and then I'm asking them to have 1 or 2 shows set up to do alongside that show, so they can mirror what I'm doing.
Interesting. So then you set it up at a Facebook event, and they're a co-host.
Yes, we're co-hosts on the show, okay. And the posts are appearing under my name.
Okay.
But they're the one active in the show.
I see. And of course, the links you use are theirs for their party.
Mm-hmm. The links are there.
Like a grand opening virtual party.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And I don't, Dawn, you're working on that right now.
Yes, I am. I just signed my first virtual consultant from that post. And I worked yesterday. I created my first virtual show.
Yeah.
This is a big step for Dawn.
Karen, I don't know if you're interested in this, but if you are, this is just, I'm not saying it's any big deal, but you know what? I did a virtual training the other Tuesday night for my team, because I feel like I'm trying to push virtual, but people are scared of it and they're having a hard time wrapping their brains around it. So we did an event Tuesday night, and I just came home super inspired that I needed to get a system in place. So I actually took everything from the event, because it was not in a Post My Party template. I took everything from that event and I went over and I made a group. And it's not a group that I intend to be an active group. It's a group that I am going to just keep in place as training. And all the posts are numbered. Number 1, here are the words to get bookings.
Oh my gosh.
Here is, you want to sign up for the 30-day, and I'm highly stressing Post My Party because of the shareable templates.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the link for Post My Party. You need a posting service.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 post is a training video of my upline director setting up a show on our website and then going over and setting up the Facebook event. Then the 4th post, I might not have them numerically correct, is Sharon Zellen. She's telling them what to do when they receive a Post My Party template.
All right.
And so then we go through there, what to do. You know, we have the daily host post recommendations in there. We just have a whole bunch of stuff in there. Karen, I'll add you to it and you can just go through it and look and take out what you want.
Awesome. I'll create an Evernote out of it, and then for the, you know, because I know that some of our team uses Post My Party, and some of them use SynthShare. So
right,
you just have it where they can just share it.
And what I'll do is, this is actually in an Evernote. Leslie Caperton and Tanya Brzezowski put this together. It's in an Evernote, but for a new, and you could just decipher your way and work your way through this Evernote. But for a new consultant, this Evernote has a lot of hyperlinks. Like you link here, which links you to YouTube. And I thought that was too much. I'll send you the whole Evernote, and you can choose what you want, and then I'll add you to the group. The Evernote itself is a vast amount of information, but maybe too overwhelming for a new consultant.
I understand. Okay, yeah, and I love. I mean, our team has really embraced Facebook event training, and that is really working well. And that's my next step. I've created 8 trainings for new consultants, depending on where they're at with their business. But this would be, again, there's always things we can go back and add, and I think that this would be a great approach.
And you may not think there's much to this. I mean, honestly, but it was just like, oh my gosh, that I got a lot of really good responses from it. And now that I feel like we're signing more virtual consultants, what I intend to do is, my gal from last night, that she got bookings, then I'm going to go in and tell her to watch steps 1 through 6.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm going to see if this is working. It's just trying a new hat on.
Yeah. And well, we got to throw enough spaghetti at the wall sometimes. And again, I know that I come home from such things like Lead Plus, and there's so many things you want to try. And sometimes I put it out there and it's not perfect, but at least it gets the ball rolling, gets their heads thinking, and
the forward mode.
Because my team is so much better than I am with that kind of stuff. And I've been talking. Okay, we have about 7 minutes left. Do any of you have any questions or comments for April?
April, I'd like to know what percentage of consultants that you actually make it through this whole program with.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I just embraced this after the retreat, and that retreat was the last week in February. So I have one gal that's all the way through it.
Okay.
And she's a rock star. She had a $1,300 grand opening show.
Wow. Awesome.
So and was that virtual?
No, that was
a lot. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So honestly, I wish I could tell you, since we just started it, I think she's the only one that's all the way through it. And now when you're all the way through the program, then you move to show-based coaching, and we're show-based coaching with her.
Okay. I think that's why I abandon things, and that's not a good trait as a leader. Right. But I think you get discouraged. You get all excited. I've got this new training program, and you want to use it, and people are not doing what they need to do to stay in the program, and I get discouraged.
Right.
Any words of wisdom?
Well, this is what I was thinking. I had one of my directors, and she signed somebody, and she was so excited to embrace the system and use it. And the gal came to the second show, didn't have 6 shows set up. And she had 1 set up. And she's like, okay, this is the words, let's reset the clock. And you chat about, well, were you hearing, what was it? Why were you not able to get the 6 shows booked? Because that's what they say to do. Examine, was it time? Was it fear? Did they hear too many no's? get to the bottom of it. And usually I think it's fear of asking.
Right.
You know, I think it's the fear of asking. So this is what I believe that she and I talked about, that you have to know that if they're not doing it with your coaching and partnership, they certainly wouldn't be doing it without.
Right.
So you're giving it, and this is where sometimes you need to do it. And then if you're attempting, you're being consistent, you're being proactive about setting up the phone calls and really working with them, and then evaluate yourself as a leader. Did I give them the words? Did we thoroughly go over the launch list? You know, did they cast a wide net in terms of their launch list? That if you've done all those things, and then you said, so what held you back from making? And because I do think that time between the first call and the second call is crucial to really peel back the onion layers and see why they didn't get the 6 months.
Right. You know, it's so interesting. And, you know, here I am thinking about yet another Facebook group to create, because, you know, Dawn, I really hear what you're saying. And again, it's part of that being human thing, because we feel we're not being effective in doing it if they don't do it, you know?
Right.
And then knowing how to coach that is another thing, because we need to be fulfilled with that as well as they. So I'm just wondering if a Facebook group like called Director Support for 72-Hour System, you know, might not be helpful, where you can say, you could get on there, John, and say, you know what, I just did this, and how would you respond? You know, what would April do, or what would Steve do?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we can think about that. Tanya Brzezowski will be at our retreat this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what? I think I'm going to ask her to pack her binder.
Oh, yeah. Pack her binder and really ask her to maybe really go through that virtual, because she's the one that came up with this virtual party training, and all the links are in there, and I'll send it to you, Karen.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And it's really comprehensive training. Like I said, you wouldn't throw a new consultant into it, but being able to pick and choose the pieces and parts of it, phenomenal.
Okay. Okay.
Great. Awesome.
Okay. Terrific.
Thank you. I'm so sorry I was late. I'm totally
Oh, no.
No, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
You're welcome. I hope it inspires you, because I really didn't embrace it like I should have for the fall.
Right.
I should have held my own feet to the fire and just dove in. I just felt like it was over. And I feel like that's what other people could think. It's a little overwhelming. And it's really not.
It's the system. And you know what, again, I think this is a time for us to realize that we all deserve grace. We all deserve grace. And I will extrapolate that to when we're working with our consultants. And that's what's terrific, like you said, about giving them the warning to, you know, today we have a 2:00 call. It gives them the grace to be able to catch up and not feel like a failure. And I think that is our biggest job, is to help our consultants not feel like a failure when things aren't going as well as, because often, I mean, here we are saying things aren't going as well as we would like it to go.
Well, I'm an executive director. Why didn't I come back and embrace this?
I know.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
So we do need to give them grace on that first, 24 from the first call to the second call, to help them, help them look at people, and so good luck with it. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then highlight it and make it yours, and write in the margin and really own it. Don't feel like it has to be boom, 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 boom.
Okay. All right. And anything else? Any other questions? Okay.
I'm going to close with that. If you're going to build it big and you're going to dive into the virtual world and have this fast-paced, accelerated growth, you need to have a kick-butt system in place to use. That's what I'm going to close with.
And that is so profound. Yeah.
And I wish
we got to get it and hang on and go for it.
Hang on, like, oh my gosh. Oh, one more thing. Oh my gosh. One thing, the other thing that Stacy said is, so Karen signs a recruit, and that's her first recruit. So Karen would get on the call with me and listen what I do. Then you would partner to train the second, and by the third, fourth, and fifth, you're letting that team leader go, because if you're having all that growth, you can't train every single person. You're going to give ownership to that up and coming director.
There you go. Teach them how to do it.
Teach them how to do it.
All right. Hey, thank you. Thank you. You guys have a great day. It's going to cut out in just a second. And again, I'm going to do my best to fix this recording.
Thank you, April.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you Friday, Karen and Gail.
See you Friday.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Travel safe, hon.
Thanks. You too, Gail.